Are you a photographer and do you want to be a full-time content creator? I've been doing content creation for a long time and it's mostly self-sustaining, but it's not an easy path. That doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's not easy. So here are some tips that can help you before you start this journey. And it is a fun journey because you don't need to work full-time 9 to 5 for the man. Tip number 1 is to be realistic. And what do I mean by that? You have to be realistic on multiple levels. For example, don't expect to get rich. Have a target. Your first target goal should be to provide enough for food and shelter. Don't expect to be able to buy a yacht or a luxury condo in an expensive city. Right now, that's pretty much what I can do, provide food and shelter. Now, eventually, you might make it big, and that's cool, but that can't be your first goal. Another dimension on which you have to be realistic is some people will have it easier than others. Some people will have it easier than others. What do I mean by that? Well, by the way, this is a mosquito net. There are quite a lot of mosquitoes around. I'm trying to not use it so you can see my face, but it doesn't always work too well. Anyway, some people will find it much more easy than others because they have the right combination of talent, charisma, luck even, to attract a lot of followers quickly. I am not one of those people. Have you ever seen those people who go to the gym and they work out and they lift weights, they pump the iron, and after 10 years they've gained 3 kilograms of muscle? Those people are sometimes called hard gainers. I'm one of those. And chances are you're going to be one of those. The majority of people are one of those. If you're not one of those people, if you're one of those lucky ones who do have that charisma or undefinable trait of attracting an audience, of being able to attract a huge audience, well, this video is obviously not for you, but that's cool that you have it. Everyone has talent in different ways. I felt like I had a lot of natural talent at mathematics. Content creation is more of just something I do for fun, but luckily I've been able to make a living out of it, but it's not a grand and luxurious living. Number 2, don't quit your job right away. It's tempting once you start getting an income as a content creator to quit your job, but don't quit it right away. Before you quit your job, make sure you have the following. You have number 1, savings. Number 2, you have several passive income streams or income streams, hopefully. Before I was a content creator, before I did photography on YouTube, I worked for the government. I was a mathematician, I was a programmer. I didn't like it, but I did it, and it was a job. And I used that job to save up a lot of money and to build up a little bit of an audience and to develop several different income streams. Many of you know me from Photography Life. I work there. I write at Photography Life. And I do YouTube, and I have a course on Udemy about Darktable. And only then, after I had all of those and some savings, did I quit my full-time job. I'm going to interrupt this philosophical discussion by saying that you should have good audio. Get a good microphone. Don't use your camera's microphone. Okay, back to the discussion. Tip number 3, make sure you're the right personality type. Well, this is something that's not often said in content creation, but you do have to have a certain personality type or else it's not going to work very well for you. For example, you should be the kind of person that is self-directed and likes working for many hours by themselves. You know, I can't see any person in my entire field of view here. I think that's awesome. I am that kind of person. I don't like it when people tell me what to do or when I have to do certain things at certain times. I like to just work on my own projects, come up with my own projects. I also like to be by myself in general. It's not just that I like to work alone, I just like time by myself. And that's very important as a content creator because you're going to be spending a lot of time by yourself. Not everyone does. Some people work in teams, but those are mainly like bigger channels and stuff. I do think you really need to enjoy being by yourself. I'm on the extreme part of the spectrum in the sense that there are very few people I know that like to do things by themselves as much as I do. Now, that's not everybody. Some people do certain things on YouTube where they interact a lot with their audience and they have more of a community, I guess, or they go out and they do things or they make videos that just lend themselves to interpersonal interaction. But especially with photography, you're likely going to be spending a lot of time by yourself. Tip number 4, protect your core. Now, what do I mean by protecting your core? This is a tip for not burning out. You might have seen that, I'm sure you've seen creators that have announced that they've kind of had enough of YouTube, that they've burnt out or something like that. I don't pretend to have all the secrets, or I can't really tell you how to protect yourself completely, but here's one thing I do. Now, you may have noticed, if you've been following my channel for a long time, you may have noticed that I don't tend to display my editing process when I edit raw photos. I don't tend to go into very much detail about how I edit my photos. I also don't tend to go into very much detail about how I take my photos. That's not to say that I don't give out tips and whatnot and talk about it sometimes, but I don't accompany my process on video. I don't explain in detail my editing process on video. Why is that? Because editing photos and taking photos are two things I enjoy the most about photography. They're my place of peace. That's why I don't put them on video, because that's my core. I protect my core. Find your core. Your core is what makes you happy. Your core is what you really like to do. I talk a lot about software on YouTube. I sometimes give quick editing tips. I sometimes give tutorials of various sorts, but I never really go into that core. I've never edited a full example on YouTube. I don't talk much about how I take my photos. 99% of the time when I do that stuff, it has nothing to do with content creation. I've done photography long before I started YouTube, and I'm going to continue to do photography long after I quit YouTube, if I ever quit it and become rich. Tip number 5. Well, I'll preface this tip with a quiz. Quiz. What is the most important thing about making content? It's uniqueness. In order for people to want to see or read what you make, you have to make something unique. And how do you make unique stuff? It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. You have to have something to say. What you put out there has to come from something inside you that's burning to get out. You want to tell your opinion. You used a piece of gear if you're doing gear reviews, and you just want to get that opinion out there. You have a certain way of workflow that you found for yourself that's changed the way you do photography, and you want to put that out there. That's unique content because it's unique to you. If your content isn't unique, if it's just something mechanical, then it's not. Sometimes it can get popular, but it's not going to be as popular as if it were unique. I've made that mistake in the past. Sometimes I've made videos that weren't coming from a place of my wanting to say something, and those videos never did well. Whenever I really wanted to say something, whenever something really came to my mind and was like, I gotta get that out of there, those things really did well. I think most people do have something to say, but you have to find that inside you. You might not even realize what it is, but you have to practice recognizing it and getting that out there. And then that's going to make the entire process so much easier. So that's pretty much it. It's not complicated. Honestly, if I could summarize this sort of conversation up in just a few words, I would say, take it slow, be realistic, and don't let content creation become your main thing. Your main thing should be living in this world and pursuing your interests like photography and just enjoying life. And that should be the source of inspiration for communicating what you're doing to the world. Content creation, if you want to be good at it, it should be about communicating what you do to the world. Content creation shouldn't be what you do in the world. It should be a byproduct. It should be a way of communication, a medium that you use to communicate your inner life or part of your inner life to the rest of the world, hopefully to inspire them in some way, to create better art and to discover themselves through art. Once content creation becomes your main thing, I know a lot of people where content creation has become more of their main thing, and what they're talking about, like photography, has become secondary. And I don't think it's not a pretty thing, and I don't think it's a good kind of thing to fall into. So you got to be careful about that. So anyway, I hope this video helped you if you're considering becoming a content creator, a photography YouTuber, or whatever. If that helps you, that's great. And anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again next time.